I know, and this was
Fastest
100%
one ever,
the
I think, right?
fastest I've ever seen it move.
Yeah.
Nathan, 1100 before 10 a.m.
John said 1900 in 3 minutes.
Lester didn't get in.
I'm sure a lot of people, miss that one. I mean, that does happen on daily trade opportunities where you get some morning ones. I mean, I know on overnight options, I have some that just, I get the alert out at 3:30 and at 3:31, it's already up $2. And so that does happen, but that was pretty crazy if anyone, you know, had a quick trigger finger
Josiah,
and got in.
Josiah got in a bit higher, and his already closed. This is my take, guys. When we get a candle, here, let me just share my screen. Again, the fastest I'd ever hit before was like 15 minutes or 12 minutes or something. This was about 2 minutes, but you can see here, we got our signal. Look at the market flush immediately. Signal flush immediately. My SPX is still on. The limit order hasn't hit there, but XSP. So that is not usual. Actually, if I go to like a 1 minute chart, it'll be even crazier.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
look at
pretty
this.
ridiculous.
This was our signal. Do you got questions? Do we chase it? Again, normally, I've been trading this for a while. Normally, you get a good little time, but it'll say buy puts or buy calls, and it'll go down, come back up, kind of set its course. Today, it did not. So to answer that question, would you chase it? I wouldn't necessarily chase it. I wouldn't mind paying if I got in, let's say I got in for 50 cents just to make it simple. I wouldn't mind paying 51, 52, 53, 54 cents. But if it immediately spikes to 70 cents, probably wait on it. We got looks like about half the people at least got filled and hit, and the other half didn't because it moved so fast. But again, this is not normal. Just to be totally clear, this is the fastest I've ever seen it hit. But hey, I guess happy it's working. And unfortunately, if you missed out, that's okay. We're gonna have a whole bunch of more opportunities over the year.
Yeah, I mean, that was just crazy. I
Stacy,
don't
what's
even
the
actually know
news?
why we got the big move down.
I don't know either. Oh shoot, I accidentally showed my prediction. Well, this is wild. For those of you who did get filled, okay, Tom in at 38, out at 59 in a couple of minutes. Again, guys, wow, not usual. Don't expect that every morning. Let me just say that. Pal was talking, yeah. Feels like today's ship has sailed and already arrived at port. Yeah, Mike, this today it looks like it has. Again, fastest I've ever seen. Typically it's about 60 minutes. This one was about 60 seconds, it felt like. No worry. Doug says he missed it. He was cruising when it went to place it. Yeah, this was a crazy one. Well, I am totally thrown off right now. Let me see if I can find any news. The other crazy thing too to consider, guys, is that drop does look steep. That was a 0.3% drop since the open. Not a full percent drop, not a 2%, a 0.3% drop. So not even that big of a move to pay, which was nice. The trade was in the 60-minute telegram. What's the difference between day and good till canceled? It doesn't really matter because good till canceled means it'll keep it on for multiple days, but since we're using same day expiration, good till canceled or day order would be the exact same. I've got a ton of messages in here. Jason says use the indicator. Yeah, if you guys, that's why I want to teach you guys the indicator. That's why I had that class yesterday, so that you can actually time it up even better if you want to. Do we normally get a trade set up before 10 a.m.? Sorry. Um, Technically speaking, if you're at the master class, it's 9:50 till 10:35 a.m. is when our signal could hit. Again, if you guys missed it, don't beat yourself up. I don't know many other programs. Nate has one, but I don't know many other programs that offer 200 trade alerts in a year. So if you missed it, you missed one of 200. Cynthia in and out of SPX in 8 minutes. Yeah. Let's see. Manufacturing came in bad. I didn't even get to see a manufacturing report. Way worse. All right. Liberty saying that. Let me go ahead and see if I pull off my filters. Yeah, we did have. Wait, where do you see the manufacturing report? Let's see if I pull off. Okay, here we go. If I go to it's 1 star rating for importance, Richmond Manufacturing Index -20, expected -2. That's shipments, new orders, employment. Pete, do I have enough subscribers to influence the market? No, this is a, I mean, the S&P is what, how many trillions of dollars? Does anyone know? And we've got 300 people. So unless we got some, multiple billionaires in there, like 100 of you guys are billionaires, I would doubt it. Some of us are whales, says Bodine. Yeah. Some of us are Warren Buffett's in here, slinging 100 billion. Oh, cool, Jason. Jason said for anyone who trades futures, not options, he has an indicator for Ninja Trader he could share. That'd be awesome here. If you want to send that to me, I'll happily share it with folks. Phil, should I keep working the trade at 45 cents or just cancel it? That's up to you. Markets are bouncing back a little bit off that instant dip. We're seeing the Vold move higher. It's actually almost it's at highs on the day. ADD taken back, taken back. Have I heard of On Semiconductors? Yes. Warren and Elon is in here. That's funny. The alerts are in that Telegram channel. Yes. Wow, I am just fielding a flood of questions right now, and I understand why. But we'll get started here in just a second. I would love for my SPX to get filled right about now, so I can be on the sidelines there. But she's up 30%. I'm cooking. It happened so fast. I got XSP in at that price I shared with you guys, and then SPX a couple minutes later, but a little bit higher. Jason almost got my 50% on the first 5-minute candle. Didn't fill though. Oh wow. All right. Sorry, I gotta clear my throat after this craziness.
Hey, Graham, by the way, one note as a side, not nearly as exciting as making $1,000 in 3 minutes, but I did get the calculator in the Opening Playbook VIP members area. So the online web version is in there for you guys under the resources if you want to check that out.
Oh, cool. There you go. DP one strike at the money today, 63,000. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get rolling here with the usual Tuesday morning market outlook. I'll give you my predictions for the week, what's coming up, and we'll do some trades at the end. Now, for the Telegram of the week, this is what I posted for Telegram of the week. I really wish I could include all of you because we got a ton of amazing feedback from yesterday's trade. Already a good start for today, although it did move crazy fast. My buddy Grant from Illinois, he is a friend of mine. I told him about this. We were visiting them and their family last weekend. Told him about the strategy, gave him the indicator, walked him through how it works. He had not done anything like this before. He's a full-time chiropractor, and now he is trading it on his own with the indicator that the members get. So yesterday he sent me this. He did his contracts on XSP and SPX, and he hit for $990 on the day, which was awesome to see. The reason I posted this as the Telegram of the week because I want to commend everyone who paid attention to the master classes and the trainings and are starting to figure out the indicator for themselves so that they can be like Grant. And I know a lot of you guys have, like Jason and some of the others in here too, who are able to do this on their own. That's ultimately what I want. Yes, I can spoon feed you the alerts, and I will continue to do that, but it's better when you know it too. So congrats and a round of applause to everyone who's been tuning in, paying attention, and learning how to do this. We're on a 7 trade hot streak, and I'm loving it right now. Other Telegram of the week. This was an important one. I don't want it to be overlooked. Apple, our dear friend Apple, who is up today, even with the markets down, just flipped positive on the Newton momentum indicator. Last time that happened was a long time ago. Well, actually, it just happened the other week, but before that was a long time ago. This thing's been in a downtrend. Happened just the other week. You can see a small move here. Could have made some money on before pulling back. And then again, yesterday, Newton momentum flipped green. I shared that in Telegram. So if you're not in Telegram, make sure you are. I like to keep you guys in the loop. Now, this week is a crazy busy week with the 60-minute income launch. So typically it's a little bit quieter in there than it would be this week. But there's the link for Telegram. If you're not in there yet, go ahead and join now. I promise I want to give you guys meat and potatoes in there. Lots of value, trade ideas, and everything you may need to know. Now, for the morning market update, let's go ahead and get our screenshot of the markets up here because, boy, oh boy, good thing I didn't do this pre-market because things looked very different. Pre-market, stocks were up. Now, after the market open, stocks are down. But again, let's make sure that we take this into perspective. Stocks are down. They're down 0.3%. Let's keep in mind that's nothing like what we saw back in February and March, where stocks were moving 1% a day, 2%, 3%. We even had a 4% down day. I think we even had one bigger. I can't even remember what the Liberation Day was on those drops. We had an 8% up day, something crazy. So yes, they are slightly down. Nothing crazy right now. For the reports this week, and so you guys saw the manufacturing one. That shows up on my chart. Let me just show you. So when I pull up the economic calendar, here's with all of them. So there's that Richmond Manufacturing Index report you guys were noting. When I look at the reports, I typically, because there's so many, I just select the 3-star ones, the most important ones. But obviously there's a lot of reports in between. So for the reports this week, the big one this morning was Fed speaking. Markets didn't move a ton on that. And we don't have a bunch of big economic reports later this week. Next week, we do have the GDP preliminary and the Fed interest rate decision, which I think we all kind of assume no action taken there. A lot of speculation going on around right now about Powell. Is he going to resign? Is he going to be forced out? I don't know. It's kind of like the tariff news. One day yes, one day no. We'll kind of see how that shakes out. That is moving the markets right now. There's nothing anyone can really do to predict that unless you are friends with Mr. Trump, or if you work in the White House, you might have a good idea, or if maybe you're trading a Congress, Congress stocking system. They probably give you a little tip off. But other than that, that's kind of our market making uncertain news that you can't really quantify. But for next week, what we know will happen is a GDP preliminary on Wednesday morning, Fed interest rate decision later that day. Wednesday will probably be a little bit more volatile than normal. And Friday, unemployment rate could be a decent sized mover. For our charts of the week, I showed this one last week. I'm going to show it again. I like Apple right now. It hasn't broken out just yet, but it's showing all the signs of it. We've got multiple indicators that have said it's a buy. And also, if you look at Apple on a weekly chart, it just touched its 200-week moving average. That has proven to be a winning strategy in the past. Over the last decade, it's only the 4th time it's happened. But each time it has happened, the stock has gone on to almost double from there. Some cases, it's gone on to more than double. So again, Apple's got to do something. They got to start making moves. However, that said, technically speaking, this is typically a great time to be long Apple. This was a chart I shared with you guys yesterday. This is advisors who say they are overweight U.S. equities. So above the line mean they're long U.S. equities. Below the line means that they're long global equities. So as you can see right now they've all been packed in, jam-packed long global equities. As you can see in the past, that's typically been a contrarian signal. End of the 2022 bull market would have been a great time to buy US equities, right? The 2017 kind of chop we had, great time to buy US equities. Following 2008, great time to buy US equities. And actually, if we look at this, the US Treasury reported that the largest inflow of foreign capital to the market since 2022. I think we'd all love to buy the markets back at the end of 2022. So this is interesting to see that this narrative may be flipping. And we talked about this yesterday. We love playing these sort of, catch-up trades where the markets are ripping and other good stocks have been left behind. Let's see if we can play them to rebound back. The U.S. market, the S&P, is kind of in that same scenario where global markets are up about 17% year to date. U.S. markets up about 7%. So there's about 10% of room for catch up on that trade, if you will. And with these two kind of coming in at the same time, I think it's very interesting timing. Also, if we look at the Trump tariffs map, so this green line shows what happened. Trump tariffs 1.0, his first term in office. How did the S&P respond to that year? Well, there you can see the exact line. And now you can see where we are now. Not the exact same path, but very similar. Immediately down, then immediate rebound. Now we're kind of right here. But look how good the back half of the year is. I think we're going to see something similar to this coming up. I'll talk you through why here in just a second. But it's interesting to see it all lining up. In other news, China is buying more gold and silver. Expect gold to continue. In my opinion, I expect it to continue this bullish market. I know it's been parked out for a bit, but I'm still long gold for a long-term perspective. And we're seeing China and some of the other countries going in on gold as well. So that's a supply and demand crunch that will probably, I think, probably escalate the price further. And then for our last little fun chart of the week, this is the 0-day options volume, which is what we trade in the 60-minute income. Nate trades the 1-day expiration in the overnight options. But this is crazy to me, but it's also so cool. The 0 DTE options volume reached a historic high this quarter. So you can see here, this gray is the dailies, the 0 DTE. Just look at the growth here. And this is kind of squeezed, but 2011, 2017, 2020 was a big jump with COVID. It didn't work at home. And then now it's just continued to escalate to this quarter 2025 is huge. So that's good for us. It means there's a lot of liquidity. We're easily able to get in and out versus, previously it would have been low liquidity, wide bid-ask spreads. Now it's just been one of the more lucrative options to trade. Actually, the volume is, I believe, I don't have the exact data, but by far higher than weeklies and further out expiration. So this is great for us as active traders, helps us out, gives us better entries and exits. For this week, we do have earnings season kicking back up, heating back up. A couple of stocks I really like are reporting this week. One of my favorite stocks right now, GEV, is tomorrow before the open. That's General Electric's energy spinoff. It's been a mega hot stock. I think it's down today. At least it was at the open. Yeah, it's down. Wow, down 3.5% today. Things been a rocket. It's up multiple hundreds of percent since I first got gifted the shares by the GE spinoff, but they have earnings Wednesday morning. We also have the big ones after the close. Tesla, big one. Google, big one. Another stock I like, ServiceNow. This is a potential catch-up trade right here. Type in ticker NOW, write it down. They have earnings after the close Wednesday. Also, ISRG, which was an amazing stock for us. They also have earnings after the close today. That's another potential catch-up trade. So if they beat earnings and break above that high price, I would be definitely looking to go long those stocks, even if they beat earnings and don't move that much. If the numbers are good, the projections are good, those could be really, really strong catch-up trades between ISRG and NOW. Let me look here. Does anyone see anything else here that is a great opportunity that we'd love to trade? Those were the ones that I saw. Chipotle was a really good one. It's been kind of hurting along with a lot of the other food stocks. But keep an eye. Google, Tesla are going to move the markets. ISRG, GEV, NOW are the ones that I care about the most as far as my own portfolio and my own outlook where I will be trading. For the market overview, this is what I told you last class. I said I would love to see the markets cool off a little bit more before heading higher. However, all of the data is pointing towards higher over the week. So what came next? We ended up going higher, ended up nailing this one, which was good to see. But with that said, where do we go from here? And I think this is really, really important, so please pay attention. Right now, the fear and greed index is about the same. Last week, this time it was at 76, which was just slightly in extreme greed territory. Now we're at the top end of the greed territory, so still very, very bullish on internals and sentiment. However, and this doesn't mean sell everything right now, but we are seeing CPC, which is our put to call ratio on options buyers, starting to get overextended. I told you my lines for time to buy is when it goes above one, and times to be looking to take profits or get a little less aggressive is when it's below 0.75. Well, as of yesterday, it's at 0.74. So that doesn't necessarily mean sell today, but just be careful. And if we keep seeing this extend, well, typically that means it's a good time for taking profits because the markets just, they really just do need a breather for the bulls to get back in and geared up. So just a little small warning sign there. Percentage of stocks above the 50-day moving average. We've been watching this week after week. We've been watching it climb higher, get really healthy, but we are at support levels. If this breaks through, that could mean, again, like I said earlier, the markets just need to take a little breather before moving higher. So you can see here, I just drew a little basic trend line here. This is a percentage of all stocks above the 50-day moving average. And right now it's hitting that support level. Same thing for the stocks above 200-day moving average. It's been really good, healthy, climbing higher. We still have rooms. We still have a lot of upside left here potentially. With that said, if the stocks above 50-day moving average, if most stocks start breaking down a little bit or just cooling off, expect to see this come back to the support level of about 50% of stocks. That doesn't mean market crash. That doesn't mean 10% correction like we saw earlier this year. It just means we could see a 3, 4, 5% pullback from here, which would be really healthy. We really do need it, and it would be great to see. All right, seasonally speaking, we're nearing the end of July, which was a great month for traders. Seasonally a strong month. Again, that's back half of July is normally pretty good. Worked out just perfectly in line pretty much with our presidential pattern that we've been following. Again, a little bit extended on either side, up or down, but look at that. Look at July there, how bullish it typically is, and look at our July, which is that blue line that I've been just kind of drawn up myself here. Also, very, very bullish for us. However, if we look, oh, I should have just shown you that, would have been easier to see it. Bullish and bullish. However, if we look ahead, man, I am choked up today. If we look ahead, August and September typically are rocky for first year terms for presidents. And if I jump back to that tariff slide, we can also see that that happened last time, a little rockiness. This one happened just before August at the end of July, kind of where we are now. But it is interesting to see that the seasonal pattern says the same as well as overall market seasonality. Typically, August and September, you hear selling man go, wait, these are kind of the reasons why. Late summer months tend to be a little bit gloomier. Now, again, that does not mean we're going and selling everything. It just means we're going to be more selective on what we're trading. It means we're going to be a little bit smarter with our position sizing versus being gung-ho like we were in April coming off the dip. So my upcoming prediction is just buyers beware. Uh, we need a healthy breather. We haven't gotten it yet. We ended up going higher last week, even though I wish we went lower. I wanted to see that cool off, but I said the data is pointing higher. Right now, the data is pointing towards a cool off. That doesn't mean this. It probably means something more like this, just a small, healthy pullback in the markets. If I go back further, maybe something like this. Hopefully not that extended, but just something like this, just a small cool off in the market. I think that would make a lot of sense right now based on where the data is at, especially too when you factor in the CPC ratings. For our sector view, let's look at our sector seasonality. Right now we're in July. Again, very great time. We've been trading communications, tech, financials, industrials, having a great time with those. Looking forward to August. I've just highlighted the positive ones. The rest are all negative in August, historically speaking. So I'm trying to give you guys a plan to look ahead. Here, infotech, which is technology, really led by semiconductors. If you're curious, like the NVIDIA's, AVGOs of the world, that is one of the only good ones in August. Utilities, which has been a really strong one. And I'll highlight it here in a second on why. But another good one for August. And real estate typically is a good one for August. However, I'm not jumping into real estate right now with the interest rate environment where it is. Hence why I highlighted it in yellow. Energy, materials, communication services, not a great month coming up, historically speaking, for those sectors. So if we break down the sectors by their current strength right now in today's market over the last 6 months, last class we liked Bitcoin's always at the top, but IBIT is a great one right now. Technology, industrials, communications, financials were some of our best ones. If we look at the notable shifts on who's moving, our top ones pretty much remain the same. So we're doing great there. However, you'll notice utilities just ticked up week over week. So this is like my power rankings for sectors. Utilities just ticked up into our top four S&P sectors. And then there's some movement along the bottom feeders. Again, energy typically does not have a good month coming up. Interesting to see that moving lower. Utilities typically does. Interestingly enough, we're seeing that move higher. So right now for top sectors, I need to update this, slimming down. I still like technology, industrials, communications, utilities. However, I won't focus as much on industrials and communications. Not a great time for those. Instead, I really like focusing on technology, specifically semiconductor stocks or chip stocks, AVGO, NVIDIA, SMH as a sector as a whole, and utilities. Because seasonally, not aren't right, they're not only strong right now, but seasonally going into August, those are two of the three best ones, seasonally speaking. So we just like to see everything line up, especially during times where we have to be more selective, like right now. So again, here's my top sectors going into August right now. Technology and utilities are the ones I want to focus on. So now let's jump into the nitty gritty for the top Apex signal of the week. Right here, we have AMD. Does anyone know what kind of stock AMD is? It's a chip stock. So again, typically chips are hot going through this month through August. AMD is currently giving us a buy signal. Now let me see. Oh man, I got the screen freeze again. Let's bring this back. I might have to just reset my display link. All right, I'm back now. Let me reshare my screen. I don't know why it freezes. All right. Apex top signal of the week again. AMD. You can see the profit. Let me just make this a little bigger for you guys. There you go. AMD profit target price 166, stop price 138. We like chips right now. Stock's way down today. They have earnings coming up on August 5th. So keep that in mind. But here's where AMD is hanging in right now on the daily charts. You can see a big, it might even gap fill from here. However, if I'm going to play this for an Apex entry, what I would do is let me just pull up my handy dandy cheat sheet. All right. So we have AMD. Typically, this hits in about 2 weeks. So that should hit just in time for earnings. Wins 84% of the time that we get a signal with an average move of 4.3% on the stock. So does everyone see what I did here? If you have Apex, you should know. If you don't have Apex, basically, this is a tool designed for weekly movement on some of the best stocks out there. AMD is one of them. 84% win rate every time we get a signal with a good average return and a very, very quick hold time. So we'll look to play that here on this AMD setup. So I'm going to go to the options here and let me just try to size this up a little bit better. All right, there we go. AMD, I'm going to give it about 2 weeks and I'm going to do one of my spreads. Again, they do have earnings on August 5th. So I don't necessarily want to go out this far. Instead, I'm going to just go out about 10 days. Now, for me personally, we think the markets may cool off. We know AMD is historically strong during this period or with this price action that it's seeing right now. I don't want to really force a big move on AMD. Instead, I'm going to just do a wrap order, which is just an at the money debit spread to basically say, hey, I bet you in over the next 10 days, AMD will be higher than it is here. And I'm actually glad that we're getting this sell off today because if we entered yesterday, we'd be all the way up here. Today, we get in for a discount. So what I would do is I would go to the August 1st, and I'm going to type this up on our sheet. I'm going to go to the August 1st expiration. Where did our sheet go? All right, there we go. Trade sheet. August 1st expiration. I'm going to buy the 150, sell the 152.5. And I'm going to type this out for you guys. If you want to buy calls, be my guest. I would look to buy the September at the money calls. So September 150 calls, it's 1,200 bucks a contract, $1,200. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go for the August 1st. I'm just typing it up over here, sorry. Buy one AUG 25. I'm going to buy the 150 call, and I'm going to sell the 152.5 call. This is currently at a net debit of 130. I'm going to post it here in the chat. Let me know if I made an error, please. Where'd it go? Here we go. What this is going to say is basically by August 1st, so here's 8-1 selected, I'm betting that AMD will be above this line here. So see the crosshairs, I'm just betting it doesn't have to go to the moon. Basically just has to gain $1 from here. If I'm right, and again, their calculators are all in the or in the members portal for you. If I'm right, I should make 92% return on investment. So AMD doesn't have to gain a full percent. It just has to gain about $1 from here. And if I'm right, I make 92%. So I set that one off. I'll let it sit there for a second. If I have to adjust higher, I may. But that's essentially how I would trade that one. Next up, for the hot sheet pick of the week, funny enough, now this one isn't today. This is Thursday. This is our seasonal report. So historically, NVIDIA is wins over the last decade. It's won 10 years out of 10, buying on July 24th and holding for 16 days. Again, we like tech right now, specifically semiconductors. We also, we also like NVIDIA right now. It's been a great stock. Here, let me pull it over here again. It's been a great stock. They already had their earnings report. They don't have another one until end of August. So we have, what, a whole month and a week. Plenty of time here to trade this window on NVIDIA. Now, keep in mind, I gave you AMD, and now I'm giving you NVIDIA. I would not go in on both. They're going to trade similarly because they are both chip stocks. However, I'm going to trade NVIDIA here for a little bit more upside. So it's an average 3% gain on the stock over the next 2 weeks, give or take, 18 days technically from today's entry. So again, 3%, it's 166 bucks. It's about $4 and that's about $5 on the stock, putting at 171. And I'm going to give it 2 weeks. We'll see, maybe 3 weeks. Yeah, we'll have to go to August 8th. And I'm going to see what the options look like for a 171 payout or above 171. Let's take a look. All right, this looks pretty good here. So now I'm going to place a bet here that just says, hey, NVIDIA typically goes up during this period every single year. So I'm going to play that it will do the same and go slightly under what it averages. So I'm going to bet that it goes above 170 by expiration and going to get a little bit over 100% return on investment. So let me type this up for you. 8th of August, expiration, buying 167, 5 call, selling 170 call. Right now a net debit of 120. So if I pull up my calculator, I think that's 108 is our potential payout. Yeah. So if we're right, you can make 108% return on investment. Let me see what happens if we go more conservative. Yeah. So all NVIDIA has to do is gain about $3.50 from here. So about 2%, which is down 2% today. So all it has to do is just make up today's gains and you can double your money if you're right. If you're wrong, again, it's a net debit entry. So the most we can lose is the amount we put in. It's at 115 now, even better. I'm just going to send it off at 120. All right, there you go. So basically, again, August 8th expiration. I just need NVIDIA above here by expiration to earn that 108% return on investment. Not that much, not that tall of an order, Not a big ask for NVIDIA. We got some questions here. Do you just let it expire? You definitely can. I typically like to hold till expiration. Now, we've had a lot of success, and hopefully you guys have seen it too by trading with profit targets. We've talked a lot about profit targets lately and how those can be helpful because you don't have to know the exact price point it's at by expiration. Instead, if it moves higher at any point during the time, you can hit a profit. So if you want to, you can set a profit target on NVIDIA. If you want a 50% profit target, we do have a calculator for that. But if you just want me to give it to you, you would set a good till canceled exit order at a buck 60 or a buck 80, excuse me, 60 cents higher. That will give you a 50% profit target. Nate, do you have that sheet handy by chance? I'll bring it over here if I can find it. Profit target. GTC. What do we call this sheet? Deanna, I sent it to you, so I know I can find it in our chat. Sorry, just give me one moment, guys. I'm gonna walk you through this, and it should be up in the members portal too. We made this sweet profit target calculator for you. So we just bought, make sure I don't mess this up, 167.5 call. We sold 170 call. Our entry price was 120. So here, this is pretty cool. Down below, so in the blue cells here is where you would update your prices. Down here, it gives us the different potential outcomes. So if we want no target, that's what I'm doing here. Holding till expiration, max ROI, 108%, like I just showed you. If you wanted to set a 25% target, this is the price you would use, 150. If you wanted to set a 50% target, that's that number I just told you, buck 80. That'll give you 50%, 75%, 210. And even here, we put in this little feature if you wanted to do a custom target. Let's say you want 35%. It'll tell you everything you need to know. ROI is 35%. Here's the exit target price you'd want. If you wanted to do a 100% target, same thing. Tells you that. Now, if you go over, the most we can make on this is 108%. So if I said I want 200%, it's just going to tell you you can't go above the max value. But this should be in the Opening Playbook members portal as well for you guys to use so you can customize the targets that you want to see. Do the same for AMD. All right, let's go back to AMD. So, AMD buying 150, selling 152.5, entry price 130. Let me just clear this out. All right, no target. Again, max ROI at expiration is 92%. You wouldn't set a target because you just hold till expiration. If you want a 25% target, there's the price to use. 50% target, that's the price to use. 75% target, price to use. If you wanted to customize your target, let's put 35% in there. It gives you the price to use. Let's see what happens if I do 34. Yeah. I want to see if we do a fraction. All right, cool. It does not. All right. So you can put whatever you want in there. As long as it's below this number, it should give you the exact profit target that you'd want to use on this exact spread. Pretty cool, right? Hopefully you guys think that's cool. The last recordings aren't available. Deanna, we'll just want to make sure that the recordings are up in the members portal. For our Newton scanner, first one here, I'm just going to say it again. Apple has looked really good. It's up on the day. Here you can see the green bar for us on Newton, meaning the momentum is actually above average for this stock. It has been in a downtrend, an ugly slump, and it's finally looks to, let me just see if I can draw. Giving us a chance to break out of it here. All right. So you can see kind of where Apple's at right now. A break above, I think it's shooting to 225. They do have earnings coming up next week. But hopefully, technically speaking, it looks good. Let's hope it's not another fake out. I mean, previously, if you were to draw trend lines, let me just go back to here. It is broken out of that steep downtrend that it was in, but now it's got to break above its current price here. And if it does, I think it's shooting right up to the 200-day moving average, 222, 220 to 225 range. So you can see Newton is green. It's building some momentum finally. We'll see if it can hold up. For other potential Newton options today, which just tells us which stocks are trading above average. Above average momentum. That's probably an earnings. Yep. So we don't want to see how it just had earnings and it's up higher. We want to just avoid those because it's a news-based move. Wow, interesting. Is that Pulte and D.R. Horton? The real estate stocks are actually up today on earnings. So just look at XLRE here. Barely moving, but D.R. Horton and Pulte both beating earnings. Very interesting. All right. We want to see stocks that are in a good upwards trend, like NIM here is a great example. However, they do have earnings coming up tomorrow, so probably not one you want to trade. But if there were no earnings, this would be a prime example of what we want to see. Good bullish trend. Newton flipping green. What is Match.com? So I'm just looking for stocks here real quick that are in an upwards trend and ideally fit our sector criteria. Here's Kroger, which is probably a staple, which isn't a terrible move right now, especially if we do get a market correction or pullback, like I've hinted at today. So Kroger could definitely be a viable option to trade right now, with the markets kind of slowing down a bit. Energy, let's see what they. This is a utility stock. So ATO, utility stock. We said we like utilities. Amazing trend. They have earnings coming up August 6th, but right now we're seeing, look at that momentum flip. Look how quickly it's flipping. This one looks really good. Again, if you look back at previous ones, when it flips, it tends to go higher. I like ATO right now, so let me just post here in the chat. KR, ATO. Oh, look, Apple. There you go. JP Morgan has been a good one. However, right now financials are cooling off a bit. I like ATO the best out of these options available. And if you wanted to look to the downside, we're going to go Newton to the bearish scanner. Man, CME, this is a stock to put on your watch list. I would not trade this to the downside. This thing's been a mega stock. Waiting for it to heat back up, but this is a potential catch-up one too. We want to see a stock in a downtrend, like MSCI, they just had earnings, but something like that would be good. Not a lot of great opportunities today. However, with Newton, you guys know we get new ones every single day. So today's list, I probably wouldn't trade any of these right now. PFG does look like a potential one, but again, earnings are right around the corner. You could trade it into earnings if you want to. What is that, 28th? So you got a couple of days there if you want to trade PFG financials to the downside. But right now, none of these are super, super appetizing to me. So to the upside, ATO and Kroger look the best outside of Apple. I put Apple up here because it's my favorite one. Right now, I have a ton of Apple shares on this signal right now. Again, it's not like it's been confirmed with a massive move in the stock. Still kind of chumming along, but it's going to be a mega catch-up trade if it starts moving. Any questions here? It's in the resource. Yeah, calculator should be in the resource. Wait. Deanna, can we just move it to the calculator area? Let's go opening playbook. I'm gonna find it in the members portal. So you're saying it's under additional resources right now, down at the bottom of the page. But Deanna, let's just move it up here with the calculators.
Yeah, I can do that in like 40 seconds.
No, no rush, but thank you. But it is in here, guys, right now. It's down at the bottom, but we can move it up for you. Blue and green lines. This is just a 200-day moving average, 50-day moving average. 60-minute income alerts come in our private Telegram channel. Nathan, will there be a perfect Apple trade soon? I'm in a perfect Apple trade right now, Nathan. It hasn't moved a lot for us. It's been just kind of, again, just chugging sideways. But we are currently in a long position on Apple. What about Kava? It's kind of been in the same situation as Chipotle. The restaurants are just not doing great right now. It's funny. I took profits on the stock at $100 back here. I bought it at 40, took profits at 100 on the underlying stock. It went to like 170, and I was like, oh my word, I missed out. But now it's back at 84. So if this thing turns around, it could be a good little one to trade. I love Kava. I love their food. It's delicious. Art last week was Meta. Yeah, there is a new perfect income trade in the members portal, and you can get it for cheaper than I got for today. The alerts are in a private Telegram channel, not in my main Telegram channel. We are in a perfect Apple trade. Nathan, I will teach people about SPX here in the upcoming masterclass. Apple would be a current good one to trade, yes. In my opinion. Could go against us like it has many times over the last year. But it looks like it could be a good one. I'm long Apple with a lot, a big chunk of the stake. All right, sorry, I'm getting a lot of questions here. We will show you how to get in the private Telegram here in just a second. Karen says this is a great service for $1. Thank you, Karen. Yeah, Nathan, I'm pretty stoked about 60 Minute as well. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and talk about it. We're on a hot streak. We've just now won the last 8 in a row. It was 7 when I put the screenshot in here, 8 in a row. Yesterday was a fun one. We hit our profit target in about 40 minutes, which you see here. And then look what happened. So here was my profit target, hit. Rest of the day sold off, did not matter to us at all because we were out on the sidelines with a profit. Scott made 440 bucks in 40 minutes. Mac posted here in the opening playbook, made 1,500 bucks before breakfast. Brandon turned $900 into $1,400 in less than an hour, which, by the way, Brandon is absolutely killing it. We got an amazing note from him yesterday across some of the different services. Kathy made 440 bucks. She's killing it too. Made close to 15K in the last 3 weeks and 3K yesterday with the trades. Celeste F made $579 in 41 minutes. And Oscar here did $3,255 in less than an hour. And we had a ton of people in today. Obviously, not everyone got in on time because it moved quick. Looks like you could actually get in now if you want to. But many, many, many more. We've got a lot of people here asking how to get involved with it, how to get going with the 60-minute income trade. So we are going to give you guys a chance to watch that broadcast again one more time here.